will your book look like? Whether your manuscript is complete, or you're just starting to write, or you're somewhere in between, you probably have already imagined what your book will look like in your reader's hands. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you some examples of what your book could look like and help you decide whether you want to produce it yourself or invest in professional book design. I'm Carla Green, the founder of Clarity Design Works and a professional book designer with over 20 years of experience. I work with authors who want to self-publish, but don't know how to get from manuscript to book in hand. Maybe that's you. I'm here to help with that process. But before I go on, I want to take a moment to thank you for your investment of time and energy in watching this video and for your desire to share your life-changing story with the world. The fact that you're here is a good indication that you're committed to creating a quality book. And you may be looking for ideas about what your layout could look like. In this video, I'm going to provide you with some inspiration and show you some layouts I've created for authors who have successfully published their books. But first, here's one option of what your book could look like. The author originally produced this document with pages and pages that look like this. Not a lot of visual appeal, other than a design technique I call emphasize everything. He used bold, italic, all caps, and overall it's just kind of generally hard to read. So the first iteration I created for him was this. It's a more structured, consistent design with some branding and focal points so readers can skim to find items of interest. But it's still basically a workbook, and the author ultimately wanted a more traditional book format. So we created this. Started with an attention-grabbing cover that had a better title and a lot less noise, and an interior that had much of the same content as the workbook, but redesigned with a clean layout in an easily digestible format. So as I go through the following examples, one of the key things I want you to notice is how the various elements in each book relate to each other to create an appealing, consistent, and cohesive whole. That translates into a good reader experience, which can lead to positive reviews and recommendations. If you're publishing a book to leverage your expertise, a good reader experience really strengthens your credibility. So let's get on to the examples. Here's the first one, Free Throws for Financial Professionals. It's a book written by a financial advisor for other financial advisors. The author used a basketball theme because his story begins when he was a student manager for the Indiana University basketball team under legendary coach Bob Knight. In the book, the author shares several lessons he gleaned from Coach Knight as they relate to his work as a financial advisor. For the interior, we included some basketball art at the start of each chapter, and also at the end, where we highlight the key points of each chapter. There's also poll quotes throughout. Poll quotes are those enlarged statements that come straight from the narrative, and a selection of photos. There's even a tiny basketball detail instead of a standard bullet in the page headers, because attention to details like that are an essential element of quality book design. The strategic stop focuses on our culture's obsession with productivity at all costs and how and why we can break that cycle. We explored various ideas for the cover and landed here for the simplicity with which it conveys the book's concept. I'd like you to notice that that rule is not solid, but it's slanted lines that evoke the dominoes. We use that same rule inside on the poll quotes. And as in the previous example, the chapters in this book end with a summary box. Here he calls them pauses. We could have used a standard bullet here, but opted to create this custom bullet that represents the pause symbol that we're all familiar with. And the reason for that is because a story only this author can tell deserves an equally unique treatment. So that's what we delivered. Next up is Dare to Be You, written by a business coach to showcase her signature program. It's part how-to book and had a fairly complex hierarchy of information. It's also part daily meditation journal with a 30-day program. One of my favorite little details are the series of dots on those meditation pages. All 30 dots are there. They're all gray except a black one in the spot that corresponds to that day. Will a tiny nuance like that sell more books? No, not likely. Does it speak volumes about the author's commitment to quality and professionalism? Absolutely. So now we're going to shift gears to another kind of book. For Mothers by Mothers is a compilation book. It's a bunch of stories written by mothers to share their perspective on motherhood. The author curated the 54 stories in this book. They've been submitted from around the world, and she had a very clear vision for the look of the book. Our creative collaboration encompassed font choices, section divider page design, and how to spotlight the author of each story with a mother-child photo. While the voices in the book are diverse, they're presented here as a unified narrative on the journey of motherhood, in full support of the book's mission to empower moms everywhere. How about a hardcover book? While it's true that the vast majority of self-published books are paperbacks, hardcover is definitely an option, even in the print-on-demand world. For example, Confessions of a Helmet-Free Childhood here, which is a playful walk down memory lane, was published in hardcover, paperback, and ebook formats. The author chose to offer this variety of formats to accommodate different strokes for different folks. She also wanted to tap into the gift book market, where hardcover books often do well because that format conveys added value. Hardcovers do involve more production details, though, so it's best to work with someone with experience in hardcover books if you want to publish in this format. Does your book include photos or artwork? Perhaps it's a memoir or a how-to guide. Maybe a look back at history or a coffee table book. Layouts such as these benefit greatly from an underlying structure, consistent formatting, and a design that matches the tone of the material in order to let the story shine through. That's how I approach every book, and my goal is to do my job so well, you don't notice my work. And I'm okay with that. So now that you've seen what's possible, do you want your book to look like this? Or maybe more like this? If you'd like to talk about how we can collaborate to bring your book to life, send me an email or use the link on the screen to schedule a clarity call. Thanks so much for your time. I look forward to hearing about your story and helping you share it with the world.